Town hall fury has swept through the nation, but what happened during a prayer at a town hall for Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy took things to a new level. Watch this.
Amen. We're done. We pray in Jesus' name.
The protesters not only shouted down the prayer, but also caused a commotion during the Pledge of Allegiance. Where has common courtesy gone, you wonder? Well, the men who were there, Senator Bill Cassidy and Pastor Michael Sprague, join us right now live from New Orleans and Washington, D.C. Good morning to both of you.
Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Chaplain, let's start with you. This is not unusual to open a public meeting in Louisiana with the prayer, is it?
No, it's done all the time.
So why do you think these folks who were in attendance for the senator's town hall were so adamant in not wanting to hear what you had to say?
Well, I think they had an agenda, Steve. And, you know, people ask me all the time if I'm mad, kind of sad for our country. But Jesus was booed all the time. And Jesus, one time, heard people cry, crucify him. And yet he said, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they do.
Surely.
And I wasn't praying a political agenda or a religious agenda. I was praying to a real person who says, love your enemy, care for the poor, someone who sacrificed his all so that all people might have peace with God and peace with each other. And the Jesus that I prayed to was one whose weapons are not knives or hatred. It's a bloodstained cross, an empty tomb, scars on his back, a serving towel, and a bunch of ragtag followers who, when they get it right, lead a revolution of love and want to see the world turned upside down.
Sure.
And when people boo that, I think Jesus just says, anytime you want to come to me, you who are weary or heavy laden, I'll give you rest for your soul.
Senator, we've been watching some town halls that have gotten raucous and noisy, and there have been people who are disrespectful to the speakers, largely Republicans, members of Congress. But for these protesters to scream at the pastor, to the chaplain, pray on your own time, that just takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it?
Every session of Congress is opened by a prayer, and that has occurred since the beginning of since the beginning Congress, the Continental Congress. I think it does. On the other hand, the folks there totally reject anything, even if they, frankly, probably agree with it. I pointed out that President Trump says his goals for replacing Obamacare are that everyone is covered without mandates at a lower cost, caring for those with pre-existing conditions. And people started yelling at that. So I mean, how much common ground can you have?
Yeah.
So they were there to, not all of them. There were some who disagreed, but nonetheless were respectful. But there were enough that were there just to disrupt, that whether it was Pastor Sprague speaking or Landon saying the pledge, they were going to protest.
Well, Senator, you know, you've seen the materials. Clearly, some on the political left made it very clear, go to these Republicans' town halls and make sure you take pictures so that we can put it online or get it on TV, because if you don't have a picture, it didn't happen. So it's all about optics. They just wanted to try to make you guys look bad, but invariably, by yelling at you and the chaplain, pray on your own time, they kind of look bad.
They look terrible, because those who say that they want tolerance were incredibly intolerant. And those that say they wanted dialogue didn't want dialogue, they only wanted to shout. Now, I will repeat once more. There were some there who disagreed, but nonetheless wanted to listen. There were Americans exercising their First Amendment rights, but there are also there who are there just to make a scene, to try and define perceptions in the way they wish to define them.
All right. Pastor, before we go, a final thought from you.
Oh, I think there's a few people that boo civility, but I think all around the country, people are wanting respect, people and leaders who work together, people who look for solutions, and people who come together. And I think it's in that name of Jesus that walls can get broken down, and we can come together and really make a difference as a people.
All right. Chaplain, Senator, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this Monday.